It's been a while since I had an Endorfy product on the desk in front of me for a review. The last was the THOC keyboards, I think. Well, Endorfy are back, and this time around, they've got a mic for us to take a look at. This is the Solum Voice S. As you can see, it's tiny. Let's find out if good things come in small packages. Hi guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Kit Guru. So as I said, this is the Solum Voice S from Endorfy. It's not the first mic they've ever produced. In fact, they have a pretty decent selection, but looking over their website, it's definitely the smallest. One of its main selling points alongside the small footprint is its simplicity. It doesn't require any software at all to use. In fact, there isn't even any software available, so you can't even use any if you want to. You just plug it in and away you go. It's got onboard controls for gain levels and muting and unmuting the mic, along with a built-in headphone jack. It's a basic microphone for sure, but sometimes less is more. We'll have a listen to it soon and find out if that's true. The recommended retail price in the UK is a bit of a grey area, just as it was with the THOC keyboards. Endorfy don't currently have a UK distributor, but we've been told that the wheels are in motion on this and you should be able to easily get your hands on Endorfy products in the UK at some point of this year. For now though, the Solum Voice S is available on Amazon Germany for around €60. As far as design goes, the Solum Voice S looks pretty good in my eyes. It reminds me slightly of the Elgato Wave mic. The whole of the main body of the mic is made up of the grille, which is finished in a matte black paint. It's quite resistant to fingerprints. On the front, you'll find a dial that can be turned to adjust the mic gain or pressed in to change the colour of the RGB ring that surrounds that dial. There's a few different static colours to choose from, but nothing too crazy. If RGB isn't your thing, you can turn it off by holding that dial in for a few seconds if you want to. Just underneath that dial is a small embossed Endorfy logo. That's the only bit of branding to be found anywhere on the Solum Voice S, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. On the back, there's the headphone jack that I mentioned earlier, and the USB-C port for connecting it to your computer. Endorfy include a 2-meter USB cable in the box, which is plenty long enough to give you some freedom when choosing where you want to position the mic. And also, the headphone jack does double up as monitoring as well as output, so you can listen to stuff through your headphones and you'll hear your mic as well, and there's hardly any latency at all when I tested it. We'll talk more about the sound specs later in detail though. The Solum Voice S comes with a small mic stand for placing it on your desk. It's finished in black to match the rest of the design, the same black matte finish, and it has a decent bit of weight to it to keep things nice and steady. Not that it needs a lot of weight as the mic's tiny. You can also place it on a mic arm though if you want to. You just have to remove that stand and then screw the bracket or the yoke to whatever it is you want to mount the microphone on. The thread on there is 3/8 of an inch as standard, and there aren't any adapters in the box. That's nothing major though. I suppose it is a slight con, but it's nothing major as most boom arms do come with adapters for various different microphones. The bracket that I mentioned just now for attaching the mic to its stand and to boom arms and stuff like that, just like everything else, is finished in a matte black colour. But unlike the grille, the bracket itself is made from plastic, which I'll talk about the quality of it in a moment when I'll move on to talk about the build quality. Running around the edges of the mic is a plastic strip, which along the top edge houses a touch-sensitive mute and unmute button. The Solum Voice S does have a built-in pop filter. You may just be able to see it through the grille in the B-roll, but Endorfy do also include another foam filter in the box that fits over the top of the mic and has got cutouts for both the dial and the mute button. We'll have a listen to how that affects the sound in a little bit. And finally, I've mentioned the size a few times, but for anyone wanting to know exactly how small it is, it's 17 centimeters tall, including the stand. The base of that stand has a diameter of 7.4 centimeters. The mic itself is 3 centimeters thick and 11.5 centimeters tall. It really is quite small and overall has a pretty minimal design. I really like the matte black finish, and I think the grille covering the majority of the body of the mic looks quite smart and kind of looks like a professional grade microphone. As far as build quality goes, it's decent for a mic at this price, which is 60-ish euros. We haven't got confirmed UK pricing yet, but around about that if you convert that to pounds. I love how the bracket and yoke that holds the mic, whether on a stand or an arm, has dampening when you adjust it, and it doesn't make any sound at all. It feels really good quality when you adjust the mic backwards and forwards like this. The dial does move a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it's going to come off in my hand or anything like that. But I'd like to have seen it a little bit tighter, as is the case with most dials. I like how the dial has defined minimum and maximum stop points. It doesn't just free spin around and around and around, as there's no indication as to what the gain is set at, other than on that dial itself. There's a little marker so you know where you're at with the gain. The wheel doesn't have any stepping when turning it though, unfortunately. Adding this, I think, would just make it feel that little bit more premium. Pushing it in to change the lighting also feels good. It's got a tactile click. You can definitely tell whether you've clicked it in or not. Moving around the rest of the mic, the grille feels decent. It does flex a little bit, but let's be real, you're not going to make a habit of using your microphone as a stress reliever, to be fair, are you? But it does move a little bit. The stand, as I mentioned earlier, has a decent weight to it, plenty enough to hold this tiny mic in place. It's coated in plastic, but it must have a metal plate in the bottom somewhere to weigh it down, as it's got quite a weight to it. The one thing that disappointed me with the build quality is the feel of the yoke or the bracket or whatever you want to call it, and the plastic strip that runs around the body of the Solum Voice S. They're both plastic, as I said, but they do feel a bit cheap. The strip I can forgive, as it's not something you'll notice all that often, but the bracket, the yoke, is a moving part that may not be so forgiving for being made out of plastic. It flexes, it feels cheap, and it could really have done with being made out of metal, or at least being reinforced with metal. If you're looking for a new chair, then you should definitely check out Booley's. I'm currently sat on their Ninja Pro gaming chair, which is one of 3 models from their gaming series, alongside the Elite and the Master. So if you're looking for something new to stick in your setup that you can sit on and game and work, then I recommend definitely checking out boolies.co.uk. In terms of sound specs, the Solum Voice S has a cardioid pickup pattern, meaning it'll pick up sound mostly from directly in front of the capsule. In this case, it's addressed from the front, not from the top. It's got a 24-bit 96 kHz sample rate, a frequency range of 30 to 18,000 Hz. It doesn't have any form of shock protection built in. We're going to test that along with how it sounds in a second. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, it has an internal pop filter, but does come with the additional foam cover in the box. Right, enough talk of specs. Here's how it sounds. So this is the mic test for the Endorfy Solum Voice S microphone. It's on its desk stand in front of me, and the gain is set to about 3/4, about 75% roughly. It has the additional foam filter installed at the moment. So we'll just check some off-axis rejection. Hello, this is Matt from Kit Guru. 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 So now I'll just quickly remove the foam filter. So this is a quick comparison. This is without the additional foam filter. It still has the internal one, obviously. This is without this additional foam filter installed on top of it. So now we'll stick it on a boom arm and see how much we can improve the sound of it by getting it positioned closer to my mouth. So now, as you can see, the mic is on a boom arm much closer to the audio source, or my mouth in this case. So the audio should be, I won't know until I listen back to this, but the audio should be a bit more clear, a bit more bass heavy, and have a bit more clarity. This is without the foam filter. We will stick the foam filter on. We did this comparison already, but I'll stick it on anyway. So there's with the additional foam filter installed. And I'll just do, because this mic hasn't got any form of shock protection or a shock mount or anything, I'm just going to do a bit of handling of my mic arm and see how it handles that. So I'm just going to tap in on it a few times, and then we'll move the mic arm around. This is quite a quiet mic arm, to be fair anyway, but just be able to hear how the mic's handling that as I'm moving it. And one thing I like about this mic is this mount, the bracket that attaches to the boom arm and to the stand with, is very silent when you operate it, when you move and adjust it. So here's that. And then finally, one last thing, we're just going to do a bit of a rejection test. I'm going to do some keyboard typing, click my mouse a few times and see how that sounds. So that was the mic test of the Solum Voice S USB mic from Endorfy. Now, I'll listen to this back and then I'll give you my thoughts right now through the magic of editing. So coming off the back of that sound test then, and I think the Solum Voice S sounds great. I was really pleased with how it sounds, to be honest. Just like all mics, it does perform drastically better when you position it correctly. That's not specific to this mic, that's just the way microphones work. But even when placed on the desk, on its stand in front of me, the quality was there, it sounded okay. I like how it didn't pick up a massive amount of my room reverb. I'm in quite a big room with a lot of flat, hard surfaces, the walls, the hard flooring that I'm sitting on at the moment, and the mic dealt with them pretty well. The lack of any software does mean that you have no native option for software-based noise suppression, but NVIDIA Broadcast works great, so you could set that up if you wanted to. Also, the omission of a shock mount did leave me a little concerned with how the mic would handle taps being handled and being moved around, but after listening back to the recording, it dealt with them a bit better than I expected, in all fairness. Off-axis noise rejection was okay. Nothing amazing, but it was definitely noticeable. With proper gain levels and positioning, alongside some added noise suppression, if you need it, you could definitely use this mic and cut out a good bit of background noise. In conclusion then, I really like this mic from Endorfy. It'll serve perfectly well for creating some content or starting out streaming or just chatting to your mates when gaming or colleagues when in meetings and stuff like that. It's really small and I think it looks great. It's got a semi-professional look at very non-professional pricing. But that leads me on to a bit of a sticking point, especially for our UK viewers. The availability of Endorfy products in the UK is patchy at best, which is a shame as they make some pretty good products and decent stuff. It's definitely worth picking one up if you need a mic like this. It's definitely worth picking one up if you can get hold of one and you want an upgrade over, say, a headset mic. But if you can get hold of one is the big thing though, especially if you're in the UK like me. Anyway guys, that's the end of the video. Please leave a like down below if you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the sound of the Endorfy Solum Voice S. Don't forget to subscribe to Kit Guru to keep up with the latest PC gaming news and reviews. And if you go down below our video, you'll find links to our merch store, our Patreon page, our Discord server and our website if you want to check any of that out. Anyway, I've been Matt. This has been the Solum Voice S microphone from Endorfy. I'll speak to you in the next one. Look after yourselves.